Hi guys and girls, this is Tomby the Gamer Shark, and welcome to the first ever episode of Tomby Talks, and today's topic is PlayStation memories. I say PlayStation, everyone calls it the PlayStation 1. It's not the PlayStation 1, because the PlayStation 1 was a small little white thing. Today we are talking about these things, and I'm with my guest Jamilad. Introduce yourself.
Hello everyone, my name is Jamie Lads. I do various videos on PlayStation 1, all that kind of stuff. And I'm just here with Tomby to talk about the PlayStation 1 and the memories that we've both had. So it'll be quite an interesting topic to talk about, and I hope you stick with us until the end. So thank you very much.
You heard it from the guy himself. He knows his shit about PlayStation. I consider myself to know my shit about PlayStation.
You know too much fucking shit. Okay.
Today's just a quick chit-chat about PS memories. First of all, what was your fondest memory of the PlayStation 1?
It was either playing Silent Hill for the first time, not even getting past the first bit because I was shit scared, or actually beating Disc 1 for Final Fantasy IX. I love those two games.
Speaking of Final Fantasy IX, you want to know what my real favourite part about that game is?
What?
Disc 1, when you're doing the play scene, and
I loved it!
I loved the play scene as a whole, but the thing that really did it for me was the QuickTime part where it was Zidane and Blank, and you had to go into the audience and have a fight and impress the nobles and impress the queen and
QuickTime events before it was cool.
Exactly. Well, QuickTime events before they were mediocre.
Yeah, I suppose.
First topic we can kind of touch on is design of the console.
These were built to last, right? I think we got this model in 2001, 13 years on, and it still works.
As we all know, the PlayStation, the original PlayStation, was released in 1996 in Europe, so we're going to go off all the European shit, okay? Because we're not American, we're not Japanese, we're just going to go off all the European shit because that's what we know. Believe it or not, this PlayStation is actually still brand new. I mean, it's still in very good fucking condition.
Yes, same with mine. The only problem with mine, it's a bit dusty, but that's just because I haven't given it a proper, dusting.
Actually, show me the back of yours. Well, aren't you lucky? You've actually got the AV ports. This one doesn't. This is like the first model. This is the model before every other output became a thing. It's like old as old goes. But the next thing on design I personally want to touch up on is, can you believe that this was actually going to look something like this? And yes, this is a Super Nintendo on top of a PlayStation, except instead of having the disc tray like on the top, it was going to be like on the side along here. And it was going to have a Super Nintendo on top, because the Super Nintendo was going to run CDs at one point in development, but due to some kind of bum deal from Sony, which was cleverly written actually when they did it, Nintendo ended up pulling out of the partnership with Sony because they realized what they were doing. So Nintendo had to get friendly with Philips to do a CD-based console, which is why Philips got the rights to butcher so many Nintendo games.
Which we will not utter the names here.
No. But this isn't just your average Super Nintendo, though. This is the Super Tomby Shark. The Super Tomby Shark Mii Retainment System. My favourite game of all time definitely has to be Tomby. Yeah, Tomby did kind of get a name from this, because this is the game I have the most memories of out of any PlayStation game ever, apart from Final Fantasy VII. I just really fucking loved this game. And guess how much this cost me to buy?
A bomb! Because that's one of the most rarest games on the PlayStation, isn't it?
It is. I'll go into a little bit of detail here. This game, off eBay, the manual's still in very good condition. It's not wrecked, it's not, It's not bust or anything. Still there. It's still complete. The disc is, shine it in the light, it's in excellent condition. Top still perfect, pristine. Yeah, so this cost me £90 off eBay. I've seen it go for more than that, especially with the condition this one's in. And this is the European version, so it's not Tomba, it's Tombi. Get it right. And apparently the PAL version of this game in general is rare itself, because there wasn't many made for the European regions. Because if you go on eBay now, you're most likely to find Tomba, you know, the English version of the Japanese version, basically. And those were the more mass-produced ones, whereas these ones weren't. So if it's Tomba, it's not worth much, but if it's Tombi, motherfuckers, that's where the money's at.
Oh, it is.
Just a quick FYI for the collectors.
I mean, I remember playing that game not as the full game, but as a trailer instead. Trailer? Demo. God, what the hell. And I got to admit, I enjoyed it quite a lot. I loved it. I thought it was an excellent game. The music was great.
And I
loved the music.
I know exactly what demo disc you played Tombi on for the first time.
I swear to God, you better not.
Winter Releases 98. The black disc that you got with the PlayStation magazine, which had the demo of Final Fantasy VIII on, it had Cooler World on it, it had Tekken 3. The thing I liked most about Winter Releases 98 was the fact that not every single game on there was, you know, mainstream anticipated releases.
Yeah, because some of them, as far as I remember, were shovelware essentially. As far as I remember rightly, I mean, I remember playing quite a lot of these demo discs because we couldn't really afford to play the actual games, apart from, you know, pirating them. So that was fun. But the demo discs, most of the games you just never hear of when you're talking about PlayStation 1s. I mean, to be honest, I can barely remember the names. The only one I can remember is Tombi's, because you've got it.
Along with the one or two mainstream games that were on there, it was full of smaller and more independent releases, like Cooler World, the puzzle game where you were bouncing beach ball or whatever.
Thank you!
There was Overboard. Remember Overboard? Probably not.
Yeah.
But back to Tombi though. People who haven't heard of this game will probably say, oh, you know, what's so amazing about Tombi? I'll tell you what's amazing. What other fucking game can you play where you're a feral pink-haired guy fucking chasing pigs and killing pigs and stopping this curse upon a land? There's farting trees. Yeah, there is farting tree. Like there's this big bum on like a stalk or something. You jump on it and it farts and it turns pigs into little mini pigs. You've got to jump on birds and you've got to rescue little chicks and you put the chicks in your stomach and you take them to the 100-year-old man and he's like, hey, where did you put those chicks? And then you go, bleh, and all the chicks are on the floor. And then he's all like, do I even ask what else you have in there? Maybe not. What other games do you go into a village of dwarves and you chase after dwarves that are hanging from big spores and trees and you get to thwart several even pigs, and what you do to each evil pig is you jump on the pig and you do a front flip throw and you throw them into big giant bags that look like purses, but they're bags. You throw pigs into bags and you seal the bag and you basically suffocate the pig. That's fantastic. You even see a part where Tombi takes a gay boat ride for some guy. You just run through the mushroom forest and then there's a guy with a boat and he's like, hey, would you like to cross the water? I'm only going one way, you can't go back the other way. And you're like, yeah, sure. And there's all this harp music playing in the background and Tombi and this guy's taking a ride in a boat and shit. It's like, and then you go into a mansion, there's a shitload of treasure in the mansion, and this game is just absolutely awesome. It's one of the best platformers. I say platformer because Platformers went out of fashion these days. Platformers, people. One of the best platformers I've ever fucking played. Seriously, hands down. Why is everybody so hyped up about LSD? I mean, it's not even... It's shit.
I've never played it, and to be honest, I don't plan to, because I'm not slamming on the graphics or anything. It looks like crap, and it plays like crap, from videos I've seen. Why?
Shameless self-promotion. I have done 2 hours of gameplay footage of LSD with my Norwegian friend Tux, who was absolutely nuts about the game. You'll see for yourself, it's absolute shit, and then everyone's all like, oh, let's write creepypastas, and let's do this, and let's hype LSD up to be something it isn't. It's really fucking shit. It's really fucking boring. As far as my rage streams go, I couldn't even make that game funny. And I tried to, and I couldn't.
Dino Crisis 2. I love that game. I don't know why. I adore it. It's like,
It's
apart
a
from
decent
Silent
set.
Hill in the series from 1 to 4, it is my baby. I cherish it.
But things that stand out on the PS1, and again, I'll start because I've got a little something that I'd like to bring up. The G-Con 45.
Right, I'm just gonna go leave the call now, so I'll see you later.
Hey, fuck you, nigga. But yeah, the G-Con 45, I will fucking say right now that even to this fucking day, I still think that this is the fucking coolest gun I've ever seen for any console ever. And yes, it even beats the shotgun that you get with the Magnavox Odyssey.
There weren't many games for the PlayStation 1 that had that though. I know Time Crisis did,
Point
and
Blank.
Die Hard 2 did.
What about Point Blank? That was a party favourite. I fucking loved that game.
I never played Point Blank, so
Though-
to be honest,
To this day, I still have no idea what game is compatible with this. And this is the
that's
Konami.
the Konami one.
It's the Konami arcade gun. Now it's funny because this apparently was made in 1995. So it's got a start button on the side. I'm guessing that this thing here is the reload button. But I'm yet to find a game that fucking works with this. I mean, what game was it
Even though
released
that
for?
actually works.
Oh, I'm guessing it does work, but that's the thing. The G-Con 45's got buttons that substitute the foot pedals in the arcade. So obviously you can't use this with Time Crisis because there's nothing to duck with. But can someone put in the comments how I fucking use this, please?
To be honest, I never, apart from that one gun, I never used peripherals for the PlayStation at all. I didn't see the appeal in them. I just thought, use the controller. That's all you need. You don't need all these fancy light guns and dance mats and all that shit. Just use the controller.
You disappoint me, son. I actually have an arcade metal dance mat in my wardrobe.
I know you do. I've seen it. It's great. But I personally, I wouldn't buy it to use it. Maybe collect. That's it.
People are probably gonna, chew me up and spit me out for that comment, but I physically think that the PlayStation was the console that revolutionized the 3D games.
Bubsy 3D.
Shut up.
There were some racing games I still remember. Ridge Racer, the first one that I ever played. If I remember rightly, that render distance was fucking abysmal. The game was abysmal for me, at least.
I heard you talking shit, boy. Ridge Racer Revolution, you've kind of got to give Namco their dues though, because Ridge Racer, was the first Ridge Racer that they made. Especially 3D wise. And you've also got to remember that they are arcade games ported to the PlayStation. So, I mean, take even Time Crisis 1, because it hit the arcades before it did the home console. And seriously, the frame rate is fucking terrible. The character animations are really fucking bad. Yet when you played it in the arcades, the graphics were better, the frame rate was fine, and everything played nicely. But the home port was a bit lacking in everything. With Ridge Racer, like I said, Ridge Racer was the first kind of, Ridge Racer they did. And obviously, it was an arcade port on a home console. Then they decided to bring out Ridge Racer Revolution, and I swear, the rendering distance on this is absolutely perfect. You can always see where you're going. All the textures load up really fast. The thing that stands out for me about this game is the handling of the cars. It's very, very awesome. It's easy to drift. And the soundtrack. The fucking soundtrack is fucking amazeballs. The soundtrack for this is 90s happy hardcore. Come on, man. Namco were very clever, the sound team, because what they did was they used samples from the announcer in the game, and basically they just made some original music and they added like little bits of the announcer in there, and like there's a track called Rotterdam Nation 94 where it's the announcer but you think he's talking gibberish. He actually isn't. If you reverse the music, he's actually saying, "You're trying to win by going backwards, are you? You're crazy." It's fucking... And then it's just like this absolute fucking awesome happy hardcore soundtrack. The 90s, man. Happy hardcore. Don't talk shit about Ridge Racer, it's funny.
Ridge Racer Type 4 though. That was my favourite. I love for that game because back then it was the only way I could artistically show myself, because you could create decals for your cars. And it was fantastic. I thought it was actually revolutionary at that point. I thought you could never ever do that. I just thought, you're given the car, you're given all the stuff, do whatever. But that game took it a little bit extra further. I know it wasn't a main feature of the game, but it had that extra immersion to it. And that's what I think some games are lacking nowadays, is immersion.
You see, that I know exactly what you mean about the artistic input to it, because as a huge player of F-Zero GX for the GameCube, I do exactly the same, because you can create your custom F-Zero machine, and then you can create custom logos, and you can just like paste the thing with 4 custom logos. And I actually used that to make my own line of F-Zero machines, and like I actually put on the side of them it was something like F-Zero Super Machine, and I gave it a number. So like I had like 6 custom machines that I made for me and other people, and they were like numbered F-Zero Super Machine number 1, number 2, like in order in which I made them. And they all had a logo on them saying Ryuhito Industries, because that was like my handle at the time. And I literally made this company. Some of the things I've been able to do with my machines, artistic wise, it's been absolutely brilliant. It's where the Epic Shark came from, my F-Zero machine, and the Sky Zebra.
Let's say this, mentioning the memory card storage, I know it's not specifically PlayStation, well it is PlayStation 1, but it's like, you've got to think, in 20 years, we've gone from 1 megabyte cards to 500 gig, 1 terabyte, even more, in just the span of 20 years.
That's the thing with me. I remember getting my PlayStation Christmas of '97 with Final Fantasy VII. And I absolutely loved the thing. And Final Fantasy VII was like the last game I ever picked up and put in the system, because, I mean, just look at its box art for Europe. All it is the logo, Final Fantasy VII. That's it. That's all that's on the box. So, as an 8-year-old kid, you look at that and you go, what is it? Because it's not like Crash Bandicoot where you've got Crash and his big cheesy grin on the box, all like, yeah, this game's awesome. Like, it's just Final Fantasy VII, the logo. And like I said, as a kid, you just look at that and you go, what is this even meant to be? Then I put it in my system, and like, the first hour I played of the game, I was like, holy shit, I should have played on this first. It was absolutely awesome. Though I did kind of pick up on the fact that the character models on the overworld looked like Lego people, and I was like, dude, why did they look like Lego people when you're walking around? But then you go into battle and it's all like, whoa, awesome! They're all like fully detailed and like they're real people. Seriously, Cloud on the overworld with like big yellow spikes coming from his head and Tifa with massive triangular boobs, and it's like, how did they go from this to this when a monster runs into them? The last thing about Final Fantasy VII I want to say is the fact that, as a kid, I read it as, Final Fantasy VII, and I was like, Final Fantasy VII? Because, obviously, like, at that age, I was like, there's other Final Fantasies. Final Fantasy VIII came out, like, a year after, and I was like, well, it was like a year and a half after. I looked at Final Fantasy VIII and I was like, well, there's got to be other Final Fantasies then. Plot twist, Final Fantasy VIII was the first game that ruined the franchise for me. But when Final Fantasy IX came out, I was like, oh, maybe it's redeemed itself. Bought that. And I was like, shit, fucking Final Fantasy IX's the shit. It's absolutely awesome. And then, like, over time from then, I went back and played 1, then 2. Then I got 3 re-released on the DS. So I actually got a chance to play 3 because it's really hard to fucking get your hands on these days, like the original one. So I played the re-release for the DS. I'd already played 4, but then I ended up getting the re-release for DS for that as well. It was a lot better when it was re-released. I got Final Fantasy V one birthday for the Game Boy Advance, so had a whale of a time with that. It was very true to the original. Final Fantasy VI, I played.
Which I have for the PlayStation 1.
But yeah, I was about to say the first time I played Final Fantasy VI was actually on the disc for the PlayStation. I mean, I knew at the time it came out on the Super Nintendo as Final Fantasy III in America and stuff. And then I was like, when the fuck did they port this to the PlayStation? When did that happen? But that was the first time I played that. So, yeah, I pretty much played all the way up to 9. Final Fantasy X came out, played that, disappointment. And then it's just been disappointments from then on.
The design for a controller like this has changed so much in 20 years. It's a long time, I know, but you've got to think, when this first came out, it never had these. It never had these analog sticks. It never did. All you had was the D-pad, the buttons, shoulder buttons, and you were set. It was all you needed at first. And Jesus Christ, was it comfortable. Exactly. Then they decided, you know what would be good? Analog sticks. And then they brought these little shits out, and to me, I cannot imagine a game controller, or any future game controllers at that matter, without these anymore. I can't.
So, yeah, I remember when the first line of DualShock controllers came out, and they were bringing them all out in multicolours, going, hey, check this out, they're so fucking awesome. And hey, guess what? I was one of the first ones to jump on that fucking bandwagon. Went out and got myself a blue one.
And I saw them advertised in the PlayStation magazine, and I distinctly remember because they were selling them with certain copies of Medieval 2. And I was like, Mom, can we get him? No.
And I've had this one since like the dawn of fucking time. Even I remember as a kid just, playing away, and then like, because I was still used to the ones without analog sticks, and I was like, what are these fucking sticks doing? Why are they here? I can't reach the fucking buttons. So awkward. I absolutely still love this controller. I just need to fix the L2 button on it.
What's wrong with it? Is it just like jammed or something?
Yeah. You see, that one's fine, L1, but L2's like stuck.
But I'm not exactly going to suggest, stick a knife in there because it's precious to you and you don't want to break it. Oh, don't you fucking dare! Don't you dare! Don't you dare! Ladies and gentlemen, this has been an excellent conversation. We are now going to see the execution of the L2 button. Oh my god. Are you actually doing it?
Live fucking surgery. I've actually popped the button out of the socket. That's good. Because then I can see what's making it stick. This is live keyhole surgery on my controller right now. After dissecting this, there's nothing in there that's causing it to jam. and the button is still, it's still, you can still press it. And believe it or not, nothing's happened. It's still stuck.
Oh well, fuck.
You guys can watch Tombi attaches Ami's PlayStation controller surgery. We are trying to fix the jammed L2 button. Ugh.
I'm scared here. I'm scared.
Trust me, I'm good at fixing game controllers. I just need to find what is making the button stick. Is there anything there causing it to stick? No. Unless there was a spring. In fact, that's what I'll check out now. I'll go into the other shoulder button and see if there's a spring
Oh god.
or a mechanism that's missing.
I bet someone who's gotten this far into the video is just looking at it, just like, no! What are you doing?
I'm currently performing surgery on one of the first ever DualShock controllers ever, you know, put on the fucking shelves. Right. Now, by the looks of it, there is literally nothing different about this button well here than there is in this one. And checking both of the
Why
buttons...
don't you switch the buttons around?
Aha! I've noticed what's wrong.
What?
Right. This actual button here, which is the button, not the piece of plastic, the platform here for the button is more raised than that one. I need to lift that one up.
Ooh.
I think it's been thrown so hard that like it's been pulled down a bit. So if I put this back in, and if it still works, yep, it's still functional. This thing needs bringing up without snapping it. I'm trying to put it back into position. Might want putting along a bit. That sounded good. That sounded good.
That did, yeah.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! I fixed it! My first ever DualShock controller is functional again! And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Tombi Attaches Ami's console controller surgery part 1. See?
Stay tuned for the next episode where we dissect a Nintendo 64 controller. Thank you, everyone, and good night.
Who's up for part 2? Because my N64 analog stick's a little bit loose.
Got the anesthesia. We're gonna get busy.
Just as a little bonus feature for this episode, I would like to point out that you were complaining about dance mats and peripherals and all this other shit that people like to play games with. Well, have you ever seen a finger dance mat? Look at this shit. It's a finger dance mat. Well, thanks for joining us, guys and girls. This concludes the first ever episode of Tombi Talks, PlayStation Memories. I'd like to thank my guest, Jamilad. He hasn't done videos in X amount of time, so I thought I'd get him involved in something, get him doing something again. Thanks for joining me, and everybody else, thanks for joining me.
But yeah, thank you very much everyone for watching the video. It's been an absolute pleasure talking about so many fun memories of the PlayStation with Tombi. I hope you've enjoyed the video. My channel will probably be in the description, I hope.
It will be, you piece of shit.
Just check out my videos. I've got 2 Let's Play series, well, playthrough, I don't like to say Let's Play, of Medieval and Silent Hill. I will be continuing them shortly, so don't worry about that. So once again, thank you very much for the video, and I'll see you guys next time.
Yep. Peace out. Stay shocky. Tombi out.